there were three bros drunk as shit that asked,
Hey, what do you think the best Star Wars movie is?
We should have a tournament to find out.
and also we should open up a restaurant.
Just totally open up a restaurant.
With, like, pizza.
Welcome into the Broforce Squad's Star Wars movie tournament. I'm Matt Geiger, alongside Jar Jar Hornacek and the mad scientist Brian Banner, and we're here tonight to find out the one remaining question in the universe: what the fuck is the greatest Star Wars movie ever? To find our bracket and follow along with us, go to broforcesquad.com under the Star Wars Movie Madness tab. Our fans voted. If you want to vote along with us, at Broforce Squad on Twitter is where you can find us, and we're going to grade this as we grade everything on our 5 criteria. So, round 1, movies ready.
Fight.
Star Wars, A New Hope versus Rogue One. First up, cast, Banner.
They're the same movie, first off. Like, you can't watch one without watching the other. So this is probably the toughest matchup of the whole tournament. A New Hope has a fantastic cast. We wouldn't have the Star Wars franchise if we didn't have that original cast of Hamill and Fisher and Solo, or fucking Harrison Ford. And with all that being said, I'm giving the point to Rogue One because of what they did. They took a movie 40 years later, played this role, and filled in one of the biggest plot holes, knowing what the end game was. I think that that's a lot harder to do than coming up with a universe that's already new, that's brand new.
Wow.
Rogue
Jeff,
One.
acting cast, Rogue One, 1 point.
All right, well, as is tradition, I have a bit of a controversial opinion, although I feel like Geiger is going to agree with me. The cast and the performances in A New Hope are very overrated. First off, no one gets out of this movie with a career alive except for Harrison Ford. But him and Alec Guinness are incredible in this film. But because of Mark Hamill, and I want to go talk to you because power converters, it makes it difficult to not give it to Rogue One, but I'm still going to give it to A New Hope only because Harrison Ford's performance of Han Solo is one of the most iconic movie performances of all time. And while I felt like Felicity Jones and Diego Luna were very good in Rogue One, I mean, it's Harrison Ford. It's the first time we saw Han Solo. How can you not give it the point?
Yeah, I'm going to go with A New Hope, too. One word, Guinness. Alec.
Oh, I thought the beer. You were like, I just.
Well, the beer's really good, fucking too. But honestly, man, I this movie, it's dated yet it's not. It's still fun to watch, but a lot of the lines written by our Lord and Savior George Lucas really kind of fall flat whenever we rewatch him. But Obi-Wan Kenobi, played by Alex Guinness, I still use a lot of his lines. These aren't the droids you're looking for.
From a certain point of view.
Yeah, I mean, that's from Jedi, I think, but whenever I tell my wife I'm going out for one beer and I'm drunker and shit, I'm like, well, I only had one beer and 12 shots, so what I said was true from a certain point of view. I think he's fucking awesome in this, and I'll give the point to, I'll give the point to New Hope. So New Hope up 2-1, going into best scene. Jeff.
Man, I hate to take this, because, Geiger, I know you loved it, but that Vader scene at the end of Rogue One might be my favorite scene in any Star Wars movie. There are more iconic scenes, but I was like, this poor 8-year-old next to me, I was just punching him because I was so excited. So I have to go Vader at the end of Rogue One. So sick.
Banner.
How do you not, like, that's the best scene in the tournament, arguably. Like, how do you not go with that scene?
It's something that I think any Star Wars fan that is probably our age, that likes dark movies like the Netflix, Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff, has been waiting for. We want not necessarily an R-rated version, but just kind of a darker version of Vader. We hear how dark he is. He's on the dark side. We want to see him actually just slaughter some people. We've heard about it before in a couple of the prequel movies, but we've never seen it. So I'm going to give it to Rogue One as well. They sweep that, and you kind of figured they did. Story.
4-2 right now. Close matchup.
Yeah. Story. I'll go.
Yeah, you take this one.
I'm gonna go Rogue One. it's kind of a cheap thing because it leads into A New Hope, it's weird because New Hope, I do like the story, but Rogue One actually made it a better story after I saw it. Which I don't know if that's cheating because you're saying, oh man, that's a great story, but this one made it better. But I just felt like Rogue One came out in 1977, I believe, and this movie came out a couple years ago, and it made it from a B+ to me to an A+, just because I kind of get the ins and outs of it. It was perfect. It ended right when A New Hope took off, so I don't know. I'm going to give it to that, and it was finally a dark Star Wars movie, which I really dug. Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, these are linked together forever. Similar to, like, Michael Bowie and Michael Jordan. These are much more comparable than those two were. I have to give this one to Rogue One.
Sam Bowie.
See, I don't even know his fucking first name, because that's how horrible he was. I got to give this one to Rogue One. This is incredibly close, man. A New Hope has an incredible story. Rogue One, I loved how it was like this. It was basically like a dark heist film, and then in the final act, man, they make you feel some shit. So, tip of the cap to Gear. I mean, that's not an indictment on A New Hope. It's an iconic movie, and I love the story. But Rogue One really executed something special for me. Banner.
So, A New Hope, that's the story we got that projected us into the Star Wars universe. That is the story that created the phenomenon that is Star Wars. And Rogue One made that movie better. How do you not give it to Rogue One? If A New Hope has one glaring hole in it. How do they get the plans, and why is the hole so little? Why don't you just put a fucking piece of plywood over it?
That would look awful!
The jokes go on and on and on. And then we have this feature-length film, and we're like, holy shit. It all makes sense now. It's got to go to Rogue One.
See, Banner, I'm in the same pool as you. I just feel that A New Hope's a great quarterback and Rogue One's a great O-line, but you wouldn't give the MVP the O-line. That's where I feel like it's kind of cheating, but I still gave it to Rogue One, I guess, just because it does make A New Hope that much better. Impacts on pop culture. Do I even need to pick someone? Do we all agree on this?
Yeah, it has to be
Clean sweep.
If you disagree, come talk to me.
Starts, not even arguably, I don't think, at this point in juncture, the greatest franchise movie ever. Period. It's not even fucking close. Star Wars is the greatest movie franchise ever.
That or the Pee Wee Herman movies.
Close second.
Yeah.
That's another pod debate. I'm not even going to start that now.
I'm sure Vin Diesel wants to chime in right now and say something else. Before he does, let's go to rewatchability.
Guys,
Banner,
going into rewatchability, we've got a close matchup, 7-5 Rogue One right now. And this one was really, really hard for me. You touched on this a little bit earlier, Geiger, where A New Hope at times feels a little dated, and then we have Rogue One that just came out last year, I think 2016, pretty more recently. The visuals in it are incredible. The sound editing is incredible. But there is nothing like seeing that opening crawl of A New Hope and going, what am I about to get myself into? I'm giving it to A New Hope.
Jeff?
Yeah, I made fun of it earlier, but guys, I want to go to Tachi and pick up some power converters. A New Hope, I remember seeing it as a kid. It was like, I don't think I'm being overly dramatic. It changed my life and showed me how fun and how movies can just transport us to another place. And I think the reason I give rewatchability to A New Hope is when you get to share this movie with someone who hasn't seen it, like when we have kids, or if you have like a friend who hasn't seen it, it is like, it's something you will
lose that friend's number.
Yeah, well, or my ex-wife Rachel, the first time I showed it to her, it was a special moment. It's a memorable moment, and this is just an iconic movie because you get to share it with people. So, rewatchability for me to A New Hope.
Geiger,
I'm gonna switch on you guys.
It is 7-7, break the tie. Who's moving on?
New Hope is a fantastic movie. Don't get me wrong. However, in the trilogy, it's the worst. Empire, I think, is the best. I love Jedi. I loved Rogue One. It was a different take that I've never, ever seen before. It's dark. It tells a very complex story. It gets to the point. It's not fucking redone 30 years later like we've seen in A Force Awakens. I'm picking Rogue One.
Wow.
New Hope to me is it's a fine Star Wars movie, but if I only have time to watch 2, I'm not going to watch it. I'm going to watch Empire and Jedi. I'm just going to skip over it. I mean, it's good for character development, but I just don't think it's that good compared to the other two, the prequels. I never have. I don't get where people like it so much. The other two, I think, outshine them so big. However, our fans weighed in, which we love all of you guys. So A New Hope, 68%, to Rogue One, 32%. So A New Hope's moving on. It doesn't matter what the fuck I think. Who am I, right?
It doesn't. Yeah, we're basically like what the NCAA should be. It doesn't fucking matter what we say.
Wow.
So, New Hope, moving on to the Final Four. Next, we got some of the prequels that aren't going to move on. We got Phantom Menace versus Attack of the Clones.
Wow.
Once again, grading this on our 5 criteria, starting with acting and cast. Can we even talk about acting in these movies? Jeff, try to.
All right, so I'm going to give this point to Phantom, but I want to be very, very clear. I don't think Phantom wins. I think Attack of the Clones just fucking loses. Because Natalie Portman and Hayden Christensen, I've seen better chemistry on Tinder dates where the first thing that the chick says to the guy when he shows up is, "Oh, you don't look like your profile picture."
Okay.
I've seen better chemistry between those two people than Portman and Christensen had on screen, so they have to. This just has to go to Phantom because I think Attack of the Clones has that bad of acting.
Banner.
Okay, so I basically took Ewan McGregor, Sam Jackson, Hayden Christensen, and Natalie Portman, and pitted them against Jake Lloyd, Ewan McGregor in Phantom Menace, and Natalie Portman in Phantom Menace, and Liam Neeson. And out of those, I think acting and casting has to go to Phantom Menace. Jake Lloyd, as much as we make fun of him and like whatever he's doing these days, he wasn't.
Friend of the pot.
Yeah, he wasn't that bad for being in such a movie with so bad dialogue and being directed by George Lucas. Portman actually almost cared in this one, where she literally didn't give 2 fucks in Attack of the Clones. And Christensen, although he tried, he just came up short. McGregor actually started to have some meat on the bones and to me really outshined everybody in Attack of the Clones, but not enough to overcome the atrocity that was Attack of the Clones.
This is a great segue for me, Banner. Thank you. First off, I want to say George Lucas, it's actually, I think, an art form to take Liam Neeson, Ewan McGregor, and Samuel L. Jackson and make them look like they're really not that good of actors like he did in Phantom Menace. However, Jake Lloyd was not fine in these movies. I think he was fantastic in Phantom Menace. And I know this is drawing a line in the sand with a lot of people. As a child actor, I bought him as Anakin Skywalker. I think, and we'll get to this in a second, best scene, I think that he, in the prequels, had the best actual acting scene where people were like, I never felt anything. There was no stakes between dialogue and stuff like that. I think he did a great job. The only problem I have is that him and Portman are like fucking 15 years difference, and then you're just supposed to believe that Portman has aged a year and Anakin's aged like 10 years in the next movie. I thought that was a big problem in Attack of the Clones.
He drank his milk!
I'm going to give it to Phantom Menace. That's a clean sweep. It's up 3-0. Moving on to story. Jeff.
All right, I'm going to go with Phantom Menace here. The Attack of the Clones thing. First off, the Anakin leaving home stuff in Phantom Menace really worked. A couple questions for Attack of the Clones. Who the fuck is Master Sifo-Dyas? Why do I care? Why did you bring in Count Dooku? I love Christopher Lee, but should just kept Darth Maul, not killed him. And one other thing is, why do all the people on Kamino look like fucking electric toothbrushes? I rest my case. Phantom Menace gets the point.
Banner.
I'm gonna go Attack of the Clones.
Oh wow! It's on the board, everyone.
Shutout's over.
Shutout's over. No more perfect game. Phantom Menace, for me, it's a fun movie. It's fine, but it doesn't necessarily advance our plot any further. Where Attack of the Clones actually advances our plot. We actually learn where stormtroopers come from. We start to see Anakin being tempted by the dark side. We start to see him and Anakin and Obi-Wan get to become brothers and really start to be that bond that is between your Jedi Master and Padawan. It actually advances the story and starts to get us to the end game, which is Anakin turning to Vader and moving forward to the original trilogy. So I got to give it to Attack of the Clones.
All right, two things. One on Attack of the Clones. I think some people like this because of the Clone Wars TV show, which I agree with them, but that doesn't count, man. That's like the DCU trying to do the extended cut to make up for the shit they did in theaters. You can't just take a TV show. Yeah, the TV show is badass. I'll give you that, but the movie was not. And the other thing is, the story's only as good as the villain. Everyone knows that. Darth Maul should have been in all three. Him versus Anakin in Revenge of the Sith, where Anakin finally takes the throne of the dark side, would have been a fantastic scene. Instead, Anakin has to fight fucking Count Dooku and a bunch of stupid-ass people. So I'm giving it just simply because of the villain, that I was actually invested in the villain, into the Phantom Menace. So Phantom Menace up 5-1. Attack the Clones is going to have to fucking rally here.
I want to make a statement real quick here. If you put either one of these against the Clone Wars movie, the animated one that's like 45 minutes,
yeah,
it would destroy both of these movies.
And that's what's sad about the whole Clone Wars story and stuff. It's actually a good story. I just don't think they really dived into it enough in Attack the Clones. So best scene, I'll take this one first. Like I touched on Jake Lloyd, I call it Anakin's promise. His promise to his mother whenever he leaves that he's going to become powerful and come back and free her. Man, I hate when people shit on Jake Lloyd. That scene actually gets me choked up like when fucking Mufasa dies in Lion King. That is a very well acted scene. It has pretty good dialogue considering it's a prequel George Lucas Star Wars film where you don't get very much of that. I think a lot of the prequels do have some good hidden dialogue, but that scene really works, and I thought Jake Lloyd acted his ass off on that one. So I'm going to give it to Phantom Menace on that scene. Jeff?
I'm going to go with the pod racing scene. I just love it. I mean, I don't know shit about movies, but the sound design is awesome. And I know people make fun of the "it's working," which is what I say anytime I can get an erection when I need to. I did like the gladiator scene in Attack of the Clones, but I did not like before that when R2-D2 became like Jesus Christ and could do anything that he needed to for the plot. So I'm going to go with the pod racing scene, also because I want to leave Banner what I know is his favorite scene, maybe in any Star Wars movie, except for maybe that Vader scene in Rogue One.
Yeah, I love the scene when Obi-Wan goes to... No, you're right. Guys, I couldn't even get it out before I fucked it up. It's the end lightsaber scene with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon and Darth Maul. That is the best choreographed lightsaber scene, maybe even best choreographed sword fight scene in all of history. Yes, the score, that is, other than
Someone might have to chime in on that one. Go ahead.
Other than the iconic Star Wars theme, that is the second best scored part in any of the movies. But that scene right there takes the cake. Another sweep for Phantom Menace.
Good job, Banner. Sorry, I had to rebury Alan Rickman while you're trying to talk about that. Too soon. Okay, what is that, 8-1? Going into impacts on pulp culture. Banner, impacts on pulp culture.
I gave this to Phantom Menace as well. It brought Star Wars back. This one is almost more of a, instead of impacts on bigger pop culture, it's more on my own personal pop culture. This is the first Star Wars movie I got to see for the first time on the big screen. And that is huge. And it's something that with Force Awakens is now happening again for a third generation of kids. Phantom Menace did that for me in my generation because I didn't get to see A New Hope in theaters when it first came out. So, impact on pulp culture, Phantom Menace.
Jeff?
I have to go Attack of the Clones, and just like I did with Acted Cast, it's not because they necessarily win, but all people ever talk about with Phantom Menace is Jar Jar Binks, so that's a huge negative. So, lasting impact, have to go Clones here. Geiger?
I'm going to go Phantom Menace. Just because, like you said, Banner, in our age group, our fathers all told us how cool it was in the 70s when they had bell bottoms and BG's haircuts to go into the fucking theaters and see these. We weren't alive yet, so it was the first time we actually got to see them. I would say the one thing I will say is whenever Anakin kills the Sand People, that was a huge missed opportunity where they kind of went pussy and didn't show us. That could have really brought this movie kind of more darker to actually show the Anakin turn. But for impacts, it's got to be Phantom Menace. right into rewatchability. I'll take this one really quick. We haven't talked on it yet. Jar Jar Binks is in this movie. We're not hiding from it. We know he's fucking in it. We've seen this. We're not going to lie to you.
We said not hiding.
For me, though, he sucks, okay? He's not good, but he doesn't take me out of the movie where I'm like, I hate this movie so much. After rewatching it, he's not in that much of it. And I'm going to do a new thing. You know, we say show us, don't tell us. The first scene doesn't have to be the best scene, but it has to set a tone. I'm going to say a new thing on the Broforce Squad. You guys ready for this?
Oh, God.
A movie doesn't have to be good as long as it's fun. And Phantom Menace is fun. It's a fun movie. It's not a good movie, but it's a fun movie. So I'm going to give it for that, for rewatchability.
So basically you're saying it's kind of like Amazing Spider-Man, too.
That's not what he's saying at all. Don't put fucking words in his mouth.
That's a shit cake. You're not listening to me at all.
For me, guys, I think it's going to be Attack of the Clones. Other than the pod racing scene and the lightsaber scene in Phantom Menace, I could really care less about the rest of the movie. Whereas Attack of the Clone at least entertains me from beginning to end. It also has one of the best quotes in all of Star Wars history. In sand, it's coarse.
It's rough and it gets everywhere.
It gets everywhere. So right there,
you had to like take a gulp because you couldn't say it with a straight face. But okay, all right, cool.
But Attack of the Clones still gets my vote.
Jeff, it's pretty much buried. Put it out of this misery.
I'll just stick the stake in its heart right here. Phantom Menace. Clones is just too long, and again, that scene on Naboo where you don't like politicians, do you? Not really, but I'm uncertain about one of them. Like, oh my god, dude. Even as good looking as Hayden Christensen is, there's no way he would have closed ass with lines like that. Phantom Menace.
So what was that, 12-3?
12-3.
It's bloodbath. Let's hope the fans...
Phantom Menace. The fans voted 51% to 49%.
Wow!
I think it was like a 1-point vote for Phantom Menace. Moving on to the final four.
Every vote counts. This isn't fucking North Korea.
Russia is
all right,
not
guys.
involved.
We've been the Broforce Squad. You know where to find us, broforcesquad.com. Subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube, especially for the next round. You don't want to miss any of the action. And follow us on Twitter at Broforce Squad. That's where you can vote on these to see what movie you want to move on. Until then, I'm Matt, he's Jeff, and that guy's Brian. We will see you later.
We shall see you next time.